Yesterday marked the 27th anniversary of the International Religious Freedom Act, a law that reminds us religious liberty isn't just an American right, it's a universal human right. Now, I wish I could say that religious freedom is stronger today than it was 27 years ago, but that simply wouldn't be true. The evidence of growing persecution is overwhelming, and nowhere is that more evident than in China, where the Chinese Communist Party is carrying out one of its most sweeping and coordinated crackdowns on Christians in decades. Now, members of Congress are taking note and taking action, I might add, which is encouraging. They're working to hold the CCP accountable. And among those leading the charge is my next guest, U.S. Senator Ted Budd of North Carolina. He serves on the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Select Committee on Intelligence, and he's been sounding the alarm about China's escalating assault on religious freedom. Senator Budd, welcome back to Washington Watch. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be with you, Tony. Thanks for all that you do for religious freedom and all of our rights around the world.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It is one of our best foreign policy issues because the evidence is overwhelming. If a country has religious freedom, it's more stable, economically more prosperous, and it's less of a risk to America.
Well, you think about President Xi and the other totalitarian leaders around the world. They completely miss this. They look at themselves as almost godlike, and they've missed it. I think it's a huge opportunity in our country to lead on this, especially as you look at a country like China trying to grow its influence around the world. And so we really need to stand up for religious freedom and go after those who are attacking it.
Well, I like the way you have approached this. You've got legislation that you put in, the combating the persecution of religious groups in China Act, but you understand that religious freedom is a tool in our tool bag of international foreign policy, but it's a big tool. And we need to utilize it, and part of that is using sanctions to go after those who are persecuting Christians and others.
Well, we need to give the State Department, and specifically Secretary Rubio, and I think he's doing a great job, and he personally believes in this, but we want to give him all the tools that he needs to work on this issue. And the other is just to elevate the issue so that it's not forgotten. It's one of our fundamental rights. We don't want to take it for granted, and it's so important for the stability of the world that we want to make sure that the State Department keeps it front and center. When we're going into trade negotiations like with China right now, we need to make sure that this is part of the conversation.
Well, let's talk about that, Senator Budd, because the president's in Asia. He's having these conversations right now. Are you confident that that's a part of the conversation?
I'm confident that we're going to elevate it so that it does become part of the conversation. But if you look at what China's done in the last 6-7 years, it's actually one of the worst crackdowns in recent days that they've done since 2018. So they definitely need to be called on the carpet for this, and it needs to be part of the broader context when they want to trade and sell their goods in the U.S.
You know, it seems to be a pattern, though, that as they approach these meetings with the U.S., there's usually a crackdown of sorts that comes prior to those meetings. I don't know if it's, subconscious or what, but this seems to be deeply rooted in the leadership of the Communist Party there in China.
It is. And we're not just going after the PRC or the People's Republic of China as a whole. We're going after the individuals that are putting this persecution forth. So we want to target the individuals that Xi is leaning on for this persecution and make sure that they think twice before they do this. Sometimes this isn't just at the direction of Xi, but it's also individuals in the different regions around China. But you're seeing folks locked down, and they have 5 authorized religions, and if you step outside of those or you have your own personal faith, then you're very likely to be persecuted. It's just, we can't have this. Xi is completely wrong in the way he's approaching this, and we just need to make sure it's part of the conversation for freedom.
Okay, Senator Budd, let's unpack this a little bit. We've got about 3 minutes left, because some people say, two questions I really want to answer. Some people say, well, this is none of your business. Why are you being involved in the business of China? And then number 2 is, we don't want to get militarily involved, which you're not advocating. No. Explain what these sanctions are and how they work.
This increases the tool bag. You did mention that earlier. So I would say this gives Rubio all the tools that he needs. First of all, it elevates it. It gives him the tools that he needs so that you can target individuals. If this is banking, if this is travel related, it's a whole swath of tools that the State Department can use. But first of all, they have to remember that they have the toolbox and that they actually go into those to go after these individuals and make them think twice before they target individuals like they've recently done. Going after Christian pastors and making them, if they are releasing them from prison, which we have one from North Carolina that was in prison, but then all of a sudden now he's released, but he's not allowed to leave the country. So this makes them think twice before they do that.
Why is this our business?
Because if they want to trade with our country, if they want to be an influencer for the world, like they're trying to do, like President Xi wants. I mean, that's his design, is to end U.S. hegemony, which has created so much health and prosperity and stability for the world. But he wants to replace that. That leads to persecution. It leads to oppression. It leads to instability around the world. And so I think it's good not just for them, it's good for us, and it's good for the rest of the world.
And I think, Senator Budd, it's also a reflection of what Jesus said, is that we're to love our neighbor.
Let's not forget that. Let's keep that front and center.
Right. Whether they're next door or they're around the world, others that are being persecuted for exercising this fundamental human right need and deserve to have us speaking up on their behalf. Senator, we have about a minute left. I know a lot of folks interested in what's happening with the government shutdown. Are you seeing any movement among your Democratic colleagues?
I am seeing some conversations. You're seeing the unions, which are typically Democrat-supported, saying, hey, let's end this shutdown. You're seeing so many people that are getting hurt. You're starting to see increasing delays in air traffic. I don't understand what they're trying to achieve. They're saying this is over health care, but let's remember, this is about subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. And if you're asking for subsidies on something, it never was affordable to begin with. Democrats in 2009 with the ACA, Obamacare, they broke health care, then they propped it up with subsidies, and then they set these deadlines. So this is a problem that they've created, and we've voted 12 times as Republicans plus 3 Democrats to open the government, and we just need 5 more to get us across 60. And we're hopeful for those conversations, but we want to open the government and give people the services that their tax dollars are going for.
Senator Ted Budd, always great to see you, and thanks again for your leadership on behalf of religious freedom. Deeply needed and deeply appreciated.